Hello and welcome. My name is Anna Hoy and this is Anna's Travel Talk. And I'm your host, and I am not only a travel enthusiast, but I am the owner and travel advisor with Vacations by Anna Dream Vacations. And today we're going to talk all about Collette Tours. Now, Collette Tours has been bringing you the world since 1918. It's family owned and operated and an award-winning company. And today we're going to discover a little bit more about Collette Tours, and specifically, we're going to feature a few tours that we have coming up here in 2021. And joining me today from Collette Tours, I have Jeff Woods. And Jeff is from Kansas City, Missouri, graduated from the University of Arkansas, and has been a business development manager for over 4 years with Collette Tours. And a nice little fun fact for you, he has visited over 15 countries. Please help me welcome Jeff Woods. Hi, Jeff.
Hi, Anna. Thanks for having me.
Thank you for joining me today. I'm excited to learn a lot more about Collette Tours, and I see the nice banner here celebrating 100 years of travel together. I mean, that says quite a lot. I'm sure you're pretty proud of working for Collette.
Yeah, no, definitely. It's a wonderful, as you mentioned, a family-owned company. We've been in business now for well over 100 years. I think we're going into our 103rd. You kind of lose count after you hit 100 years.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, but it's been a very incredible company to work for. I'm very proud to be with the company.
Wonderful. Well, I'd love to hear a little bit more about what makes Collette special besides the 100 years of experience.
Yeah, absolutely. So kind of diving right in here. I'm going to see if my screen will cooperate. There we go. So kind of who we are is we are a guided tour operator company. So what does that mean? We specialize in land tours, so we are handling everything for you and your travelers, making it a seamless process. So, everything from booking hotels to scheduling meals to your airfare, getting you to and from the airport, which I'll touch on here momentarily as well. But we're basically setting up everything on tour so people can go and they can relax and just have a really good time. They don't have to worry about the plans and making kind of, finding out when they have to go to the next city or what time they have to be here. We're taking care of all of that. And the nice thing is it comes full circle with a wonderful Collette tour manager who he or she is there to really just take care of your guests. They're there to just make sure everyone's having a good time, that we're on schedule, they're educating, they're learning. I like to kind of call them your history professor and kind of your liaison to the country, if you will. So that's kind of a little bit about what we do. Embrace the freedom of touring, with Collette. With that said, we have a couple of different travel styles. We know, as well as Anna, everybody's a little bit different. Some people love to take 2-week adventures to Europe, maybe even a month, and stay there for, as long as they want to. Other people like quick little getaways, depending on, time, some other things going on in their life, things like that. So we have a little bit of a different travel style for everybody involved. And as you can see here, here's a couple of them that I'm showing you. So kind of our classic flagship line, that's your standard, kind of 10-day tours to Ireland, to Italy. Speaking of that, we have over 150 tours all over the world, throughout all 7 continents. So
wow.
not only do you have a different traveling style, you can go anywhere in the world with us. So our classic line is kind of your standard, 10-day tours to an Ireland or an Italy or to Costa Rica, really kind of getting a whole snapshot view of the country, and getting to see and do all the kind of the must-dos and the must-see things while you're there. Moving on to the explorations, which is in purple, the small group touring. So this is a big style of travel that is really kind of taking a big hit in the United States as far as what people are looking for. So these tours are maxed out anywhere from 19 to 24 passengers. We kind of like to describe them, they're a little more adventurous, so they're for a more active traveler. Maybe somebody who's been to Ireland or Italy before and wants to go and take a deeper dive off the beaten path. These are perfect tours for them because it's a more intimate experience. They get to see more unique things that you don't see on the first go around with the countries. Unique modes of transportation, boutique style hotels. So if somebody's looking to do that, that's a perfect style for them.
And so these are curated experiences, right? So you have somebody on this exploration groups from the region. So it's more of like a behind the scenes, getting to know the destination on a little more personal level than in a larger group.
Yeah, absolutely. And just to kind of clarify, classic larger groups, you can expect a bus load of anywhere from 35 to 44 people, just kind of depending on how many people are on that date. But the exploration line is definitely, max 24 people, but you're really looking at more of an average of that 16 to 18 range, which makes it a lot more of an intimate experience. So it's very unique that way. Moving to the spotlights, these are really unique. It's a very niche style of travel that people love. So for those people who want a quick getaway or who just kind of want to go experience a city in full, spotlights refer to single hotel stays. So on other tours, you're going from hotel to hotel and moving around a little bit, which I'm going to touch on some unique factors on why we do things a little different momentarily. But the spotlight hotels are great. So spotlight on New York City, spotlight on London, on Paris, in Tuscany, places that really focus on staying in one location and really getting a holistic view of the area. It's a perfect blend of touring and leisure time all at the same experience. So people really, really love this style of travel as well.
That sounds pretty amazing.
Yeah, it's a big hit. River cruises, we also offer those primarily in Europe. We operate with a wonderful locally family-owned regional operator in Europe as well. So we do Rhine River cruises, the Danube, the Seine River, some wonderful different places throughout there. So we do offer river cruise opportunities. And then we kind of round things off with our faith-based section. Our faith-based is kind of a more unique niche area as well, but faith-based is for something to keep in the back of their minds if people are looking for a pilgrimage to the Holy Land, or maybe to Spain or to Ireland, places that kind of have more of a religious influence in their communities. These are kind of tours that are geared and based towards that theme and that style of a tour. So for Catholics on some of our pilgrimage tours, they get to have mass at some of these wonderful, beautiful cathedrals and places throughout the countries that they're in. We also offer for kind of Protestants and non-denominational faiths as well. So just kind of another aspect of traveling style we can kind of tailor to different people.
Yeah, and those faith-based journeys can be life-changing.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. I hear always the wonderful stories that I hear from people, parishioners, pastors, priests, all the above that go and have a wonderful time. It's really life-changing. Absolutely. Kind of just going on to some things, what makes Collette unique. So for people who have traveled guided before, whether it be with Collette or one of our other wonderful competitors, there are some areas that we strive to kind of go above and beyond and maybe tweak the experience a little bit, depending on what kind of people are looking for. So kind of what makes us unique and what we offer from a hotel standpoint is we offer really quality hotels, 4-star plus hotels in strategically located areas. So what does that mean? Sometimes they're city centered. So if you're in Rome or you're in Paris, you want to be in the heart of the city. You want to be staying at a nice property that you can walk out the door and be able to walk around the city and to see everything that you want to see right there. You're not taking a bus 30 miles into town and back out. We want you to be right in the heart of the action. The pacing and the hotel hopping is kind of where we would like to take a little deeper dive and look at some things. So from a pacing standpoint, on average, as you can see here, we stay in about 5 tours per tour. Some of our other competitors offer 6 to 8 hotel stays on one of their tours. So what does that mean? We're trying to slow things down a little bit. We don't want you to just, go to a hotel, stay, wake up, and hit the bus the next morning. Then you don't really know what you just saw, right? We want you to have a little more immersive experience in that city that you're in. So we're really trying to dial it back and slow our pacing down, spend more nights at a hotel than just one night at a time. So that you can really get an understanding of what you're actually seeing and really take it in. I know in some of my travels, I've been in and out of a town in half a day, and then you wake up the next day and you're like, what did I just see?
Where am I?
Yeah, where was I yesterday? So we're really trying to dial that back and to slow things down and make it a more easy, enjoyable, relaxable experience for people. Also with hotels, from a meal standpoint. So I never really understood this a whole lot getting into the industry, but the more I'm talking to people and the more conversations that I have, I find that included meals are slowly becoming a big part of people's travel experience. We on average include many more meals on our tours, including dinners, than a lot of our competitors. So kind of what that means is they don't have to worry about planning their meals while they're traveling. We can take them to some of the best restaurants that we've located out. And we're not always dining in, the hotels. We're getting out to the local restaurants and finding that local cuisine. Those fun, cooking experiences, cooking shows with local chefs. That's what I mean by kind of the culinary experience. And so on average, we include more of those experiences so people don't have to think and people don't have to get on Yelp or Google Maps and find out where am I going to have my next meal tonight. With that said, we do offer free evenings and free meals where people can decide and go kind of off and find what they'd like to do. But we do include a lot more meals on some of our tours.
Yeah, and I think the flexibility makes it really attractive for the traveler because you have the dining experiences that you want when you go to those regions. And then you do have some flexibility to go check things out on your own from time to time. So I like the fact that you have some flexibility.
Absolutely. That's what it's all about, being flexible. This may be one of the biggest differentiators that we offer is our private sedan service. So what this means is there are a little bit of restrictions on this, but what it is on departure day, we're going to pick your travelers up at their home in a private sedan. That's going to take them to and from the airport on departure day and when they fly back into the country. Because one of the most enjoyable parts about travel is getting to the airport and going through that process, right?
Yes.
No. This way, yes, it is. We're picking people up at their homes, taking them to the airports, and we're also picking them up when they fly back into the country. They're dead tired, exhausted. The last thing they want to do is hop in their own car and drive home.
Right, or wait for an Uber or something like that. So
exactly.
Yeah, this is a really nice feature. It makes you feel like a VIP, and that's one thing that makes Collette stand out to me as a travel advisor is the exceptional service that you provide to the guests. And so this is just one of those services that creates that customer experience.
Yes, absolutely. And you said it perfectly, VIP. So we want you to have a VIP experience.
We all want to be VIPs.
Exactly. The moment you leave your house throughout the whole experience of the tour to when you walk back in, tired from your travels, but you just had such an amazing time. It's just a wonderful way to start and end your experience.
I agree.
Yeah. One of the big segues is we're going to be talking a little bit about some of our health and wellness guidelines and kind of what does a post-COVID travel world look like. Well, I want to start here with travel insurance. And for maybe some of your guests or clients that maybe were with some other vendors, they probably received a travel credit. They probably received a voucher for future travel. People are a little unwearied nowadays. They're worried about putting their money down and am I going to get my money back? What if I get sick? What if the tour doesn't operate? Things like that. So one of the ways we've really just excelled in this slowing down to a post-COVID travel world is with our travel insurance. Our travel insurance states that you can cancel for any reason 24 hours prior to your departure, and you get a full cash refund.
That's pretty nice. Not just a credit, you get an actual refund.
Right. So what we've kind of done, sorry, go ahead.
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt. So this is like a cancel for any reason policy, right?
Absolutely. It's not based on
age. So if somebody doesn't feel comfortable traveling, at the last minute they decide they are changing their mind, they got 24 hours notice, they're good.
Exactly. It's not based on age, pre-existing conditions, none of that. Kind of the ongoing kind of joke we like to make in the office is it's your bad hair day policy. Is what it is. So, and one of the things that we've really established to differentiate ourselves in the industry throughout this whole pandemic going through COVID-19 is we are, as far as we know, we're the only tour operator that has actually given people their money back during this pandemic, so including travel insurance. So most people are issuing credits and vouchers, and a lot of people have been upset because they want their money back, and we understand at Collette that this isn't our money to spend yet. So what we do is we put their money aside, and when their tour is about to run, that's when we utilize that money to go there. So we allocate all that money back to the passenger, back to the traveler, and give everybody their money back. And it's kind of a shocking statistic is we've refunded almost $100 million in the last couple of months.
Wow.
Yeah. So it just gives people a little bit of a peace of mind, kind of way to travel, that they know that if they do put down a deposit or they do have paid in full for a trip and we cancel the tour, or if they don't feel comfortable going anymore, they're going to get all of their money back. It's not going back in a voucher or a credit.
And speaking of canceling tours, I know that you guys are resuming all of your tours, I think effective right now, right? As of August. And so if for some reason there was a tour that was canceled, clients are notified, I believe it's 30 to 45 days in advance. Is that correct? If there's going to be some kind of unfortunate reschedule or cancellation?
Yeah, so what's been happening is our executive and leadership team are making decisions on tours roughly 30 to 45 days in advance. And we're just kind of looking at, what is the state of the region that we're going in? Is it a hot spot? Are we able to, are our vendors open? Are they accepting tourists? What does all that look like? So we're abiding with the CDC, the World Health Organization, specific doctors and other kind of peers in the industry to kind of see what is the best way to safely and efficiently operate a tour. And so we're looking at all those factors in a rolling 30 to 45 day basis prior to departure to determine if we can operate that tour. And as you kind of alluded to earlier, we have started operating tours as of July here in the US. Yeah, I know, travel is back. So we're all very excited. And so a few destinations such as South Dakota, Mackinac Islands, we're going into some areas in Kentucky and Tennessee. After thorough review processes, we find that we're going to be able to safely operate and efficiently operate these tours. So, which is a kind of a great segue into my next point. These are kind of some things that we're focusing on because this is kind of a new travel world that we are going to be embracing for the foreseeable future, if not for a while down the road. So here are some few things on what that looks like and kind of what Collette is doing to handle that. Smaller groups on our tours. So we're operating motor coaches at 50% capacity. We're providing face coverings that we're asking people to wear on the motor coach while they're traveling. We're abiding by all kind of the local areas with some of our restaurants, museums, attraction sites that we're visiting. We're kind of just making sure that we can be able to do those things, and we're abiding by what they're asking us to do. The tour manager is really empowered on our tours to kind of take people's temperature if they're feeling sick, kind of do a daily evaluation. How are we feeling? The motor coach driver and the tour manager are cleaning down the motor coach, every single day so that it's thoroughly cleansed and so that people can come on tour having a wonderful, healthy, safe experience while they're there.
That puts your mind at ease. And then are there any destinations right now that are requiring COVID tests prior to traveling?
Yeah, there's some places throughout Europe. There's also a few states here in the U.S. And these are areas right now that we just can't operate tours to. That's kind of the nature of the beast right now. So there are certain areas and states and places over the world that are asking people to have a COVID test, whether it be 24, 48, 72 hours prior to entering the country. We're not operating tours to these regions at this time, just because that's just a challenge that we're facing, as well as many people are facing with kind of operating that. So
totally understand. Thank you for sharing that. And then I just wanted to point out that I do have some guests that are traveling next week to Spotlight on South Dakota, and they received a nice little goodie package that included a face mask. Their whole itinerary was printed out for them. Any safety protocols that they needed to know about were included, name badge, everything that they need so that they can be comfortable and enjoy their trip. And so that's just, again, talking a little bit about the customer experience, that's just an additional above and beyond nice feature so that when someone's going on a tour, they don't have to print something out or worry about what's going to happen on the tour. It already comes to them in a nice little package. So I just wanted to point that out then. Yeah. And they received their little face masks and they're ready to go.
Wonderful. Yeah, those are our departure documents, which we send to everybody out. And we usually send those anywhere from 3 to 4 weeks in advance of somebody's tour. That has a nice little goodie packet that you described. And so people, it's kind of a nice way to say your tour is just around the corner. So get ready.
Yeah, get excited.
Yeah, exactly. So Anna, I know we have a couple of tours that we are promoting from a group standpoint with you. And so I think we're going to be talking about some of those right now. Is that right?
Yeah, absolutely. Which one we're going to start with? American Music Cities, I believe, right?
Yes, America's Music Cities. So this tour is an 8-day tour. There's 10 meals that are included on the tour. And this is a tour that's really going to unearth the roots of American music. We're going to be traveling to some excellent places, and people may already kind of have an idea where this is at. But here's kind of a snapshot tour at a glance. 3 nights in New Orleans, followed by 2 nights in Memphis, and then ending with 2 nights in Nashville, Tennessee. So this is a tour that we are going to be operating here pretty quickly as things are starting to shape up. But the tour is going to start in New Orleans. And what we always love to do is, we do a nice city tour of the area. Familiarize people with kind of everything that they're going on. The tour manager is a wonderful person to go into some of the history and talk about the culture that's in the area. New Orleans, jazz capital of the world, also known for some extremely good food. So from the culinary standpoint, I spoke to a little bit earlier. Of course, in a soulful city like this, we're going to get a history of their cuisine and really sample some of their wonderful things that they really enjoy down there.
Yeah, that's whetting my appetite right now.
Absolutely. Getting out into some of the outskirts of town, we're going to learn some of the history and the ecology of the fascinating ecosystem that New Orleans has. So wonderful animals, eagles, herons, turtles, alligators. We partner with some local people out there that kind of show us around the bayou and kind of see some wonderful experiences from that standpoint. Anybody ever heard of Mardi Gras? Probably.
Yeah.
Oh, absolutely. Big tourist attraction every single year. But we actually are going to take a little deeper dive into the festival itself, kind of going behind the scenes and seeing what Mardi Gras world is all about, getting to see some of the local artists and some of the floats that they make, and really kind of to see how they make this day and this festival come to life. So a little bit of a behind the scenes experience when it comes to that.
That's special. Yeah.
The tour is continuing up to Memphis, and this is where people, especially coming from the West Coast, going to get a true taste of what Southern hospitality is like. One of the properties that we stay in, so the hotels that I was talking about earlier, we're going to be staying on a hotel that is located on Elvis Presley's property in Graceland. Woo! So you're going to be right in the heart of that area. So if you have any Elvis fans out there, this is the tour that they want to see to go and learn more about his life and see where he lived.
So I think that's a must-see when you go there, right?
Oh, 100%. One of the biggest attractions in Memphis by far. So part of that, exploring Elvis's estate. He sits on about 14 acres. A lot of his rooms are still preserved to kind of the same furniture, the same instruments, the same decorations. His family really did a wonderful job in kind of preserving his home. So you got to get to see it as Elvis lived in it himself. So
that's pretty amazing.
Moving on to Nashville, we're going to stay at the world-renowned Gaylord Opryland Resort. And you're going to be there for 2 nights. This is a picture of the resort itself. Tons of different shops and restaurants on location to walk around and really get to experience a fascinating property while you're in Nashville. On that same note, we do incorporate a show at the Grand Ole Opry. So one of the things you must do when you go to Nashville is see a show at the Opry, and that's one of the things that we include there as well. Country music is absolutely, this is the capital for it. So if you're a country music lover, we're going to be visiting some of the local areas, the Hall of Fame, the Country Music Hall of Fame Museum, and learn all about the great country artists all the way back to the early 1900s to where we are today, getting to kind of see some of their wonderful things that they do. And then if you have some talented travelers who like to sing, they might even get their chance to record in the world-renowned Studio B. This is where this is where a lot of artists have recorded some of their chart-topping musics over the year. Very, very famous studio that they get to tour and kind of get to see the actual studios that they've been in. And if they want to take a shot, they may even get to record their own little sampling there themselves.
Oh, that would be pretty amazing to do that and bring that home. And not only the fact that you recorded it, but where you recorded it, that's pretty huge.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's a nice little perk. And then the date that I have for these, I just wanted to throw out there, is coming up next year, April 19th through the 26th.
April 19th through the 26th of 2021. Perfect. So the next tour, the 2 of 2 that we'll be talking about is definitely a top seller. This is a absolutely fascinating place to go. I'm up in this area at least once or twice a year. Pre-COVID, I have been, and I can tell you it's a fascinating place, a very, very beautiful place to go and see. This is our Islands of New England tour. It's an 8-day tour that's going to include 14 meals throughout your experience. And one of the things I love is you can see from this tour at a glance, the black dots and the number inside those dots reference where we're staying and for how many nights. So 2 hotel stays is all that this is going to be throughout this week while you're out there. So slowing down the pacing, kind of what I was talking about a little earlier, this is a perfect example of what I mean by that. So they're flying into Providence, Rhode Island, spending 3 nights in Providence, and it's going to be followed by 4 nights in Falmouth, Massachusetts, kind of down in the Cape Cod area, visiting wonderful sites, Martha's Vineyard, Nantucket, Hyannis, lots of wonderful places while you're there. So flying into Providence, yes, and I will say Providence is actually the headquarters for Collette Vacations. So we take our
Oh, darn, you got to go there all the time, huh?
That's why I have to go up there. Yeah, but I really do love visiting up there. It's a very unique town, and New England it's just beautiful early American colony country. So you kind of get to see what that looks like firsthand. Speaking of beautiful Newport, Newport, Rhode Island is a very, it's kind of a bougie area. It's kind of nice to go and see and walk around beautiful shops and areas. So we do visit Newport to see some of the yachts, do some shopping, some of the delicious restaurants that they have. One of your days will be a full dedication to Boston. If you've never been to Boston, you have to go to Boston. The Yankee Charm up there, Beacon Hill, the Old South Meeting House, the Faneuil Hall Marketplace. These are all excellent places that we see on a city tour. And what I love about Boston is, it's a very big city. So you have huge sky-rise buildings on one side, and then you turn a corner, and then there's a church that dates back to the 1700s, still intact, still in place, and it's just sitting right next to a big skyscraper. So you really get to see that early historic Americana just kind of up close and personal throughout Boston. Learning what the Pilgrims were like, as we all know about, Christopher Columbus, the Mayflower, the Santa Marina, the Pinta, kind of those ships coming over. We get to discover kind of Plymouth Plantation. So Plymouth Plantation is a recreation of kind of what it was like for early Pilgrims that came over, back in the day. It's a 17th century recreation. And people are kind of out there, reliving life, kind of how it was during that time period. So part of touring that is you got to get to see how people, used to churn butter and how people used to build and what kind of foods they used to eat. So it's a very interactive experience and kind of a learning experience while you're there as well.
Sounds really fun.
Absolutely. Your next 4-night stay, which is going to be in the Falmouth, Massachusetts area, is at a beachfront hotel. So kind of just able to unwind and relax at the end of the day, to go out and sit on the beach and just hear the waves crashing up against the sand is just kind of a wonderful way so that we're going to be ending this tour for your last 4 final nights. You're going to have a local guided experience at the Vineyard, as the locals like to call it, Martha's Vineyard, which features just wonderful gingerbread style homes. It was once a famous whaling port that people get to learn more about, but a wonderful area to do some shopping that people get to do. Shopportunities is what we like to refer to these times as. So people have a lot of those on this experience on our tour. And of course, you cannot go to New England without sampling some of the local food and dining like a true nor'easter. We have a traditional lobster feast that's going to take place at a wonderful restaurant kind of right in the harbor area. So they're going to get to learn how to eat fresh lobster right out of the ocean in a typical nor'easter way with a kind of a fun little guided experience at dinner time this evening.
Yeah, what an amazing experience. My husband and I are looking at going on this one next year. The date I have for this one is June 11th to the 18th of 2021. And I've never been to any of those areas. So this kind of covers everything, and it's so well curated of an experience that I can't wait to go.
Yeah, absolutely. It kind of, as you mentioned, it's a wonderful way to see everything in a holistic and bring it all together in one trip. Absolutely. And then kind of one unique thing that we like to offer on some of our flagship tours is what we call a choice on tour. So you can see here on the last day on tour, your guests will get a choice between they can take a whale watching cruise out in the bay, or they can have a sand dune adventure kind of right off of the coast. So for people who want to get on the water, they can do that. But for people who want to stay on land, I totally understand. We have opportunities and activities for them to do on their last day. So it's their choice. It's already included in the cost of the tour. They just get to decide, what do I feel like doing today? And that's what you get to do. So a little bit of
personalization. That's pretty nice. Yeah, they just decide on the day of. They don't have to decide in advance. They just decide on the day of how they feel, and they can pick one.
So they can decide in advance if they know exactly what they want to do. There's a little checkbox that they can check on what they'd like to do. But if they don't know, yeah, they can wait and kind of feel it out and kind of maybe see what their friends are doing. Or one of the things you'll find is on a guided tour, you make friends with everybody on board. Some of them lifelong friends. You become Facebook friends, and you kind of see, what's John and Jane doing today? I want to do what you guys are doing. So those experiences you have on the tours as well. So, but it's a wonderful way to kind of wrap up 2 trips that we have set for you. And I know these are only 2 of 160 tours that I talked about earlier. So if these 2 tours don't, make any interest for some of your people, please get with Anna and get with them and show them the 160 tours we have all over the world on all 7 continents. So Europe, Africa, Asia, we offer it all. So if there's other places you like, we have those opportunities.
Thank you. Yeah, I appreciate that. And I thank you for sharing that with the audience. And these 2 tours are booking now. The American Music Tours for April and the Islands of New England for June, but we are booking them now, and I will put the information in the Show More section, or you can reach out to me. My email is ahoy, nice and easy, at dreamvacations.com. I'm happy to get that information to you. Now, quick question on how far in advance should you book? Since these tour dates have set dates, the 2 that I'm speaking of, do generally all of the tours have specific dates that they go, and then how far in advance should they book? And then I understand that there's a difference between a guarantee and a not guarantee. I don't know if you want to cover that.
Yeah, so I'll do my best to kind of talk about those things. So
thank you.
For these tours, since we are setting up specific group departure dates, so getting a bunch of people, hopefully that we all know, together and going on one date with you, Anna. About 6 months in advance is when we're looking for just a small deposit, and that just kind of reserves your seat, reserves your space. One of the big things we're finding is, obviously coming out of this post-COVID world that we're in, is people are a little uneasy about travel and kind of putting money down. One of the things I'll say is purchase our travel insurance, or purchase some sort of travel insurance that guarantees you getting your money back, because that's one of the easiest ways to know if something should happen or I can't go, I'm going to get all my money back. So I don't have to worry about putting my money in Colette's hands. The other thing is there a vaccine coming? When is it coming? That's why we've selected some of these domestic dates, because these are going to be areas that aren't hot spots, or we're predicting aren't going to be hot spots, at this, next year down the road, 6, 7, 8, 9 months down the road. In my personal opinion, I think despite any major setbacks, travel is going to pick up, and it's going to really, really take off. Probably second quarter of next year, going into 3rd and 4th. It's going to be a frenzy out there. So the sooner you can get booked on a tour and at least guarantee your spot, the more peace of mind you're going to have, instead of trying to scramble at the last second, and maybe you don't get the date you want that works for you. Maybe you don't get to go with your friends that are going on the tour. So definitely, as always, the earlier the better. And by purchasing some sort of travel insurance to get your money back and guarantee that just kind of puts you at a peace of mind, so that if something does happen, you have an out.
Yeah, and I appreciate that, especially right now, as you mentioned earlier, travel is a very personal decision, and some people are comfortable traveling now or in the next 6-9 months, and some people aren't. And people do have concerns about canceling, and the fact that you have the travel insurance and the cancel for any reason, it really reduces your risk. It gives you that peace of mind. So you can book it now, and in the event that something does go awry, you're going to be okay. You're going to get your money back. But from what I'm reading, in 6, 8, 9 months, a lot of people are booking travel. They're booking travel for next summer, next fall. We're pent up. We've been stuck in our homes for a while. We want to get out and travel. So these are great ways to get out and experience travel, in a group. And as you mentioned, some of the groups can be smaller groups. I think you said 16 to 24 people, and then up 35 and up. And it gives you a chance to explore the world in a pretty safe environment. I love all the protocols that you touched on. And I know on your website, you do also list all the protocols. So if anybody was concerned and wanted to know what kind of protocols are in place, I'm happy to get that information to you so you can feel as comfortable as possible. But we are booking for 2nd, 3rd, and 4th quarter of next year. And we're encouraging travel. And I told you earlier, I'm looking to go to the islands of New England. I'm just trying to confirm with my husband, he could get the time off from work. But looking at that, it just gets me excited to want to travel.
Absolutely.
There's a lot of reasons people travel, and you travel for experiences, and you travel to explore, and you travel to connect with family and friends. There's a lot of reasons people travel. And so I'm just excited that Colette's back.
Yes.
Offering these tours, and then these 2 tours that we're putting together, or have put together, are fabulous. And as you mentioned earlier, you have over 100 tours. You cover the world. So if there's a place that somebody wants to go, more than likely, you guys have a tour there.
Absolutely.
So yeah, that's amazing.
Yep.
And then you kind of, how far in advance, you kind of covered that and the fact that you cover a world. Is there anything that you think we missed or anything that you think we should add and share with the audience?
You know, I think we covered a pretty good thing. I don't want to give too much information for people. People don't remember a lot of the stuff, but the thing I do just kind of want to circle back to is throughout the pandemic, we were given an A+ rating from the BBB, the Better Bureau Business, and they just really kind of praised the company for how we're handling things, and we're keeping the customer in mind first. You know, we're making sure that they're taken care of, so that they can, you know, have these outlets to be able to travel. And as you mentioned, we all travel for different reasons. So whatever that reason is, hopefully it brings you to Collette on a guided tour with Anna. So.
Well, thank you so much, Jeff. I really appreciate you coming on and sharing all that information with the audience. And if you're interested in joining us on the American Music Cities Tours or Islands of New England, or matter of fact, any of the over 100 tours that Collette offers, they are family owned, and you can feel that in the experience that's curated and with the customer service. I have to say, as a travel advisor, my interactions with Collette have been amazing, and their customer service is A+. So if you're interested in more information, my contact information will be below. And thank you again for watching Anna's Travel Talk. And if we've inspired you today, hit that subscribe button. You'll be notified when we go live with new content, which is every Tuesday. So again, thank you, Jeff, very much. Thank you, Collette. And thank you for joining us on Anna's Travel Talk. Until next time.